For the past month or so, I have, in all honesty, just had kind of a lack of desire to make videos, just plain and simple when it comes down to it. Significantly less interest than usual. And I haven't really been able to pinpoint entirely why, but over the past week, I've come across a few things that have resonated with my experience quite a bit, and I want to talk about them, share them a little bit, because I think they're things that can be applicable to a lot of people in a variety of many different situations. Last night on the Ascension Presents YouTube channel, they had a live Q&A going with Father Mike Schmitz, which I hopped on for just the beginning while I was making some food, but I caught the response to a question that was about having a lack of desire for the Eucharist, or just not really feeling like they missed going to Mass during this time. And the response he gave this example of how when he was younger, he and his siblings were all swimmers. And when his brother would come home from swim practice, he would just pound a full bag of these mini donuts right before dinner. And he talked about how it didn't really matter for his brother, because he would just pound the whole thing of donuts and then he'd just keep going through dinner and he would still be hungry. But he said for most people, if they were to eat an entire bag of donuts right before dinner, that would probably spoil your dinner. You wouldn't be hungry for dinner anymore because you were already full on all the donuts. And I think that is a really good example for in life, whether it is the desire or even the willingness to pray, to go to Mass, to work out, to work on schoolwork, anything that is, good for us, but isn't necessarily the fun thing to do all the time. When we lose the desire or the hunger to do those good things, it might be because we are being filled with something else. And that coincides really well with this other thing that I've come across recently, the dopamine detox. The basis for this is pretty much what I've just explained, that there are certain things in life, a lot of things in our lives around us, that give us this strong hit of dopamine, which is the feel-good chemical in our brain. And often the things that give us the most dopamine, or the most instant gratification, are things that aren't necessarily the best for us. Eating junk food, TV, video games, porn, scrolling through social media, etc. But the problem is this dopamine becomes addictive. We create this feedback loop in our minds, this pattern that our brain understands that, maybe scrolling through social media on our phone is a much quicker and easier way to get dopamine than, say, going for a run, which is something that, I'm still going to probably feel really good about after, but it's something I have to, get up, put on different clothes, stretch, go out, exert myself, sweat a little bit. It's just not as easy. And more often than not, our brain wants to choose the thing that is the path of least resistance. So as we fall into that pattern and we continue to choose the easy dopamine hits more and more, we become filled up by junk food, TV, video games, porn, social media, etc. And we start to no longer be hungry for those more productive and more beneficial things. And that's where the idea of the dopamine detox comes in, which is essentially cutting out all of those quick dopamine hit things from your life. And interesting, what I found commonly suggested for something like this is a detox from all forms of dopamine, things even like working out or reading or listening to music, even work. The idea with that is that you take some stretch of time, usually like 24 hours or so, to just be, to slow down and not be constantly doing something or constantly stimulating yourself somehow. Just give your mind and your body the space to slow down, which should, as the hours go past and the boredom sets in, or maybe the freedom sets in, you should start to feel that hunger building back up again, from which you can dive back into the more productive and beneficial things as the detox ends. I think it's a very interesting idea and something that I could probably really benefit from. I am so bad about just constantly needing to be doing something or stimulating myself somehow. And with a little more free time recently over the past month, I've been finding that has been spent more doing less productive things, sitting around playing video games, scrolling through social media. And that has started filling me up, and I've started to lose my hunger for more productive, beneficial things, intentional prayer, making video content. So for the past week or so, I've been making a little bit more of an effort, at least to start, at the beginning of my day, trying to spend the first hour or two of my day without dopamine. So not picking up my phone for the first hour or two, doing a little prayer meditation before breakfast. And I'll be honest, it was really hard to get into. The first day that I was trying to do this, I caught myself scrolling through social media like within 5 minutes of waking up, because we just build these automatic actions of this need for instant dopamine. So full on dopamine detox day might be in my near future, but either way, I think it's something, at least the understanding of it is something that can be very beneficial for all of us. And especially if you found yourself with more free time recently and maybe falling into this same pattern as well in some sort, we begin to lose that hunger for the best things for us by filling ourselves up with other things. So I'd suggest some kind of detox from these dopamine things in our lives, at least a conscious effort to spend less time filled with instant gratification sources, maybe less time doing and stimulating ourselves overall, and more time to simply be, to be present to ourselves, be present to God, and to be more aware of all the wonderful things that He is doing in our lives.